A tense phone call between US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky has reignited fears of a direct US-Russia confrontation after reports that Kyiv is lobbying for Tomahawk cruise missiles to strike deep inside Russian territory. According to sources familiar with the call, Trump cautioned Zelensky that reckless escalation could drag America into something no one wins, amid mounting pressure from Kyiv for new long-range systems. The discussion came just hours after Russian officials issued stark warnings against any US decision to arm Ukraine with Tomahawks. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said the issue was not so much about Tomahawks being at Ukraine's disposal, but about the fact that their use without direct US involvement is simply impossible.
The question is not so much about the Tomahawks being at the disposal of Ukraine's armed forces, but rather that their use without direct involvement of US troops is simply impossible. The Russian leadership has repeatedly stated this. Corresponding US administration's decisions, if ultimately made, would not only risk spiraling confrontation, but also inflict irreparable damage to Russian-US relations, which are just now beginning to show elements of renewed dialogue.
President Vladimir Putin, when asked by Zvezda TV journalist Stanislav Ivashchenko about Zelensky's threat to hit almost at the Kremlin, dismissed it as showing off.
In Kyiv, Zelensky threatens to hit Russia with tomahawks almost at the Kremlin. They even say that this is some form of showing off, I mean, blackmail. You didn't misspeak, showing off is also here.
This point is legit.
Our response is to strengthen the air defense system of the Russian Federation.
Putin reiterated that any US decision to deliver Tomahawks or similar long-range precision systems will destroy our relations, or at least the positive trends developing in them.
You've just mentioned the US president. There were questions related to, let's say, the issues concerning the deliveries of new weapons to Ukraine, including long-range, high-precision systems like Tomahawks and so on. Ura 123, I have already said that this will destroy our relations, or at least the positive trends that have been developing in them.
Meanwhile, Zelensky, speaking in Kyiv earlier today, doubled down on his appeal. "We need to stop the fighting by force," he said.
You know, everyone is ready at some point to stop the fighting, except, of course, the Kremlin and, of course, Putin. We see this, and that's why we need to stop it by force. That is why it is partly air defense, but partly long-range strike capabilities. You all know these names and the Tomahawk and so on. We're not afraid to talk about it, but we don't want this conversation to drag on. We need conclusions and answers. We very much expect a positive response from the United States. In a different way, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but watch without unnecessary details so as not to prepare the enemy.
VO7. The Trump-Zelensky exchange underscored deep divisions between Washington's renewed diplomacy and Kyiv's growing impatience. While the White House seeks to stabilize ties with Moscow, Zelensky's push for Tomahawks has turned into a flashpoint that could once again place Ukraine at the center of a major power standoff.